What's up, gang? I'm back with another video. Per request, I'm doing a jumbo tribal braid ponytail. So first things first, I always blow dry their hair straight. If they're natural, that just gives you the best results. And once I do that, I start by sectioning the hair in half from ear to ear, so I can have a decent section. And once I have the sections, then I go ahead and start with my braiding pattern in the back. So here I'm showing you how I do my little small braids in between. If your client does not have the neck strength, I do not suggest that they get this style, because this style, you have to have a strong neck. Honestly, like you're gonna see throughout the video, like she's gonna be holding her neck and stuff. Yes, like this style really hurts because it really like puts your neck into different motions. But when I'm doing my small braids, I always make sure I get like a good piece size, like nothing too small, nothing too big, because you don't want it to be too big because it's gonna throw the whole style off. But with the back part, I like to do 4 braids in the back. It gives all the braids even. It doesn't make the ponytail too full. It makes it a good consistency. And this is how all my braids look once I have them all. Sometimes I do 2 braids or 1 braid depending on the design I'm going for. And I just make everything up in my head. So the hair I'm using today is this Xpression Hair African Collection in 99J. I cut the hair in half. Once I have it in half, I split that half in half. And that's 1 braid per section. So I stretch out my hair. If you want me to do a video showing you how I do that, I'll do that. But once I have my hair stretched, I go ahead and section it off in little pieces that gradually get bigger. And once I have that done, then I'm ready to start braiding. So when I do my braiding, I literally add in piece by piece. I put in the smallest, I braid with their hair first. Then once I braid down like probably 2 or 3 times with their natural hair, I start to add in pieces. And when I add a piece in, I braid, add the second portion of the piece, braid again, and then add in a next piece of hair. And that's how I get the gradually big effect. And it doesn't get bulky too fast. That's what I'm not looking to do, is for the style to get bulky too fast, and then the ends of the braids are short. So if you add it in 1 piece at a time instead of stacking pieces on one another, then you won't get a bulky look. You'll get like a smooth look with long ends. Okay, y'all, so I'm back and I'm gonna show y'all how I do this braid step by step. So first things first, I go ahead and unbraid the hair and comb it out. And then I take my jam and place it on both sides of her hair. I just want to make sure that I smooth it in, so that way her hair is like super sleek once I start braiding it into the braid. And then what I do, I get my edge control and put it at the base of her braid, like where I'm going to start the braid at, to make sure all her hair is in one place. And then I create a little section, and that little part is what I'll be using to start the braid off with. So before I even start my braid, I go ahead and separate my hair from super small pieces to gradually bigger pieces. And that is how I get that's how I section out the hair to get my braid, to get that gradually big effect. So once I start braiding, I'm going to start braiding with her natural hair. And I'll braid that probably like 3 times, braid it down 3 times before I start adding in weave. And once I start adding in weave, I go in 1 piece at a time. So now I'm braiding her hair, and now I'm going to add a piece, braid it down again, and then add in that second portion of that hair, and then braid down and start adding more hair. And you also want to make sure you comb their natural hair in to blend with the weave, because if you don't, then it's going to stick out through the weave, and you don't want that to happen. And always make sure you have your jam on hand to make sure that you're combing in that hair to blend with the weave properly. And you just want to keep on adding in hair until you get that gradual big effect. And anywhere that you see necessary to comb in or blend in her natural hair with the weave, please do so, because you don't want her hair to be standing out like from the weave, because then if she's natural, then it'll revert back quicker and the style won't last as long. So you just want to continue adding in the hair and combing through until you reach the end of the braid. And even if you still have more hair, continue to add it in, because it doesn't matter. You need to make sure all that hair is in there. Okay, so now that I have all my back braids done, I'm just going to go ahead with my jam and just smooth in any hairs that I see that may be sticking up or whatever. And this is how the back view looks when I'm all done with it. So now it's time to get started in the front. So first things first, I'm going to take my edge control just to smooth out her edges to make sure that they're laid. And also I make sure and tie the back braids up out of the way because I don't want them bothering me when I'm braiding the front. So I go ahead and section her hair in half. I put a part directly down the middle of her head in the front. And then what I do is I section out the front into 4 braids. So I cut each side into half. And from that half, I go ahead and do my small braids from each section just to make them smaller. So with the first braid, it's going to curve around from the front of her head and go to the back up to into the ponytail. So that's what you see me doing now, is just sectioning that out. And once I have that sectioned out, then I'm just gonna go ahead and smooth out her hair out of the way with some jam, and I'm just gonna start braiding the small braid. And I don't add any weave to my small braids. I just braid their natural hair because I don't feel like the weave is necessary because they already have weave in the big braid, so I don't feel like it's necessary within the small braid. But once I have that small braid finished, I'm just going to go ahead and do another small braid on the other side before I start adding in the weave. Okay, so now I have both of the small braids done, and I also did the big braid for the section. But now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I do the actual big braids in the front. So with the front ones, I still start off with their natural hair, braiding it probably 2 times now, because it is a smaller distance, a shorter distance, because the front of their hair, because the ponytail is so high, the front braids are shorter. So what I do with the front braids is I stack the hair. So I braid down. Then when I add the second section in, I also add another piece of hair on top of that to make the braid get bigger faster so that it doesn't look disproportionate compared to the back. So I'm going to go ahead and braid down again. And then when I add in the second piece, I add in another piece of hair and just go ahead and blend in her natural hair with the weave like how I was doing in the back, and make sure that everything is smooth and just blends flawlessly. So now it's time to do the finishing steps, and it's the same for every braid style I do. I spray my spritz first, and it's okay if you drown their hair in spritz. It's okay, because yeah, they don't want their style to mess up, so you gotta do what you gotta do. But anyways, you gotta pump it up spritz. Then you're gonna take some mousse and make sure you mousse every single braid, because that's key to making sure that the hair smooths out and just does what it needs to do. And once you have the mousse down pack on every single braid, then you're going to go ahead and take your Got To Be Glued freeze blasting spray and spray their hair, and then spray it again with spritz. And once you have it sprayed again with spritz, then you're going to go ahead, because I cannot put a do-rag on her hair because she has a ponytail, I take black neck strips. That's a lot to say. Black neck strips, and go ahead and just tie 2 in the front. And then I also tie 2 from the back going towards the front, just to make sure that I have every portion of her hair covered when it's time to blow dry. So once I have it all tied up, now I'm going to go ahead and blow dry her hair on high heat. That is key, high heat. So once I start to blow dry her hair, I'm going to be taking off the black neck strips piece by piece. I'm not going to be taking them all off at once, because I want to make sure that everything is dried properly before I start taking them all off. So I'm going to take one off and then continue to dry, take the next one off, continue to dry, and so forth until all the neck strips are gone and all the mousse and spritz and freeze blasting spray is all dried up in her hair. After you do all your finishing steps, you want to make sure you clip away any flyaways that you may still have left over. And once you do that, you also going to go ahead and dip their hair into hot water. Once you have the hair dipped, now it's time to put on the rubber bands. I usually do 2 black rubber bands that you get from off of the packages of the hair, braiding hair. So I just save those rubber bands for the ponytails, and then I just put 2 on each ponytail. So what I'm doing is just going ahead and blending in any hair that I may see sticking up or sticking out with my jam and my edge control. And then once I have that, now I'm going to start adding some accessories to her hair just to like spice up the ponytail. So with the string, she's adding silver accessories to her hair. That's what she chose, so I'm just going to go ahead and add those. What you do with the string first, I make an X, and then with the X, I loop them around each other and come back out the same way I went in, if that makes any sense. I don't know, but that's how I do it to get the pattern that I get. And then once I have that cord wrapped around that braid, I take that braid and just wrap it around the base of the ponytail. And then once I do that, then I'm going to go ahead and start adding in rings and clamps and some more cord to her hair, to the ends that are hanging over. And yeah, that'll be the look. Okay, y'all, so we're at the end of the video with the finished product. I love the way this look turned out. If you like it, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel so you can stay notified. Until the next video.